Let's work within our presentation and start manipulating some objects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over here to slide number 3, and we'll talk about grouping of objects first. Now, this slide was built from a layout. I'll actually go ahead and remind you. This is the album section layout, and you'll notice in this layout there are 3 placeholders. Now, grouping of items allows you to take various elements that are on the slide and handle them as one element. So that if you have numerous things, you want to drag them around, and you're going to be selecting and deselecting them multiple times, it's nice to group them so you don't have to try and reselect all the proper objects every time you're manipulating them. So let's say I wanted to grab these 3 things. Now, the reason I pointed out that these were items from a layout is that they were placeholders, and you cannot group placeholders. You'll notice I attempt to group these. Actually, that was a key shortcut. Let me show you how to do that on the screen. Go Arrange, and notice Group is not available. And once again, if I use a shortcut, can't group them. But if we have other elements that we've added ourselves, let me go ahead and add some pictures real fast. Okay, so I've added one of the same pictures. And because these are not in placeholders, I can group these. So we'll go Group, and now I can move them around. Now, as we look forward and talk about things like animations, you'll find that animations apply to groups of objects. But let me go ahead and ungroup these. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of them and work with the elements that are on the screen. So now let's talk about moving items around on the screen. Let's say I have a group of items and I want to arrange those. I have many options available to me. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of alignment. Now, before I do this, I want to point out to you this toggle here called Align to Slide. Align to Slide allows you to, if I decide to choose something Align Middle, it's going to align those items on the middle of the slide. Currently, it is selected as Align to Selected Objects, which means for these 3 objects, it's going to align them relative to each other as opposed to the slide. So if I go Arrange, Align, Middle, they're relative to each other, but notice they're not in the middle of the slide. If I toggle the Align to Slide and I repeat the same action, Align Middle, they are now middle of the slide. Okay? So I've learned this one the hard way. Don't forget what you set this thing to, because sometimes you will mess yourself up. You'll start trying to align things and they won't work properly. So remember to turn it off when you're done with it. So we can also distribute things. So you'll notice the spacing here is a little bit awkward. Doesn't look very good. So let's do a few things. And you know what? I'm going to do a few things at once. We'll get them all out of whack. I'll select a group of them. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to align their top so that they're at the same level. And it aligned to the topmost item that we had selected. Now I'm going to distribute these horizontally so I get some nice even spacing there. Now let's say, let me purposely cause a problem here. I'm going to align these center, and I deselected. Now how am I going to get to the items underneath these images? This is a little trick that is good to know. What you want to do is you want to turn on the selection pane. So I've selected the items. I go over here to Format. And that was key, by the way. I had to select an item before we can get to the Format ribbon. I go to the Format ribbon. I select Selection pane. And now the various pictures that are hiding, I can select individually. And this little icon over here is a visibility icon. So maybe I can't tell, because it's not named appropriately, which one I'm actually looking at. I can turn them off until I can get to the one I want. Let me turn this. Okay, so that's the one I wanted to select. It's visible. Now I can grab it, I can move it, and then I can turn back on my other elements and see them. Now I do need to warn you though, if you turn off the visibility and forget to turn it back on again, we go and present this, and to show it, those items will not show. So it's helpful for selecting, but you're going to want to remember that it's going to be affected and those items are going to be turned off. Now let's talk about alignment guides. Oops, you know what? I did exactly what I was telling you not to do. Let me turn those guys back on so I can use them. I just proved my own point now, didn't I? Okay. As I grab an item, you're going to see dynamic alignment guides pop up. See these little red dotted lines there? Those are going to intelligently judge what you're trying to align against. So in this case, it thinks I want to align the photo to the left edge of the text below. As I get closer to the other images, it's going to pop up and show me alignment relative to the other photos. And additionally, it'll tell me spacing as well. As I move this guy close, you'll notice that the arrows and the dotted lines between the photos show up, showing me that I am evenly spaced. So those are dynamic alignment guides. All these tools used in conjunction with each other can allow you to build very professional looking slides. So I'd like to give you a chance to give that a try now.